This is so non-canon it hurts.
Dominion, Dominion, Dominion. You never cease to disappoint me. Now granted, you are nowhere near as bad as your predecessor, Fallen Kingdom, but that's not saying much. So anyway everyone, it is me, Shadow Leon 659 once again, and today I would take a look at what was thankfully the last Jurassic Park movie ever released, right before Jurassic World came about. You know, that movie, that's the very definition of they were focusing more on doing damage control than actually making a compelling and good movie. Well, that's not the case. Well, that's the case for this movie and everything, because considering that the movie had a troubled production for the last 4 years, I am not so surprised that Universal just hit the panic button and were trying to do damage control and everything. And boy, considering how the movie flows, you can so tell that this movie feels like a complete disjointed mess. And I'm talking the Rise of Skywalker levels of a disjointed and incoherent mess. I didn't even want to watch this movie originally, and for years I avoided it like the plague until finally I just decided to watch it, and like I said, nowhere near as bad as Fallen Kingdom, but it's still a pretty bad movie nonetheless. I can go for entire hours of what went wrong with this movie, but for the sake of purposes for this review, I'm just gonna focus more on the plot. This is already the third movie in this new trilogy and whatnot. 3 movies in, Owen and Claire are still not compelling characters at all. The 2 of them lack chemistry, and pretty much none of them are remotely likable and everything. And of course, I forgot to mention in my world review that I personally feel that Chris Pratt was just not the right choice for the character of Owen and everything. Claire just feels like, you know, a bland and unlikable character and everything. Now let us talk about the clone girl Macy. So the movie picks off from where the last film ended, in where should I say humanity is now forced to live with dinosaurs and everything, and it's all thanks to Clone Girl's fault. I'm just gonna be calling her Clone Girl for the rest of the review. Nobody eventually calls her out on her actions and why the world is forced to live this way. And don't even give me that excuse of she's just a child, she doesn't know any better, because if the authorities discovered out that Clone Girl was responsible for this mess, let's just say she'd be thrown in juvie and whatnot, and most definitely deserves a good spanking. Oh, forget Nick Van Owen, forget Billy. Clone Girl is worse than the 2 combined, because at least give Nick Van Owen and Billy credit. Yes, those 2 characters, their actions put people's lives at risk, but in the end, they both managed to save everyone and whatnot. And of course, let us get to the plot about, you know, humanity living with dinosaurs and whatnot. You'd think that that would be the movie's central theme, as how humanity is trying to cope with these dinos and whatnot. But no, this movie just completely brushes them under the rug and completely forgets about it. Instead, we are mostly focusing on the whole stupid, nonsensical plot of Louis Dogson trying to use genetically engineered locusts to take over the world. So wow, we went from actual Saturday morning cartoon villains to generic I want to rule the world because I'm evil antagonist. What has this franchise evolved into? So, yeah, compelling villains, we don't get that anymore because, God forbid, we actually have compelling villains. And like I said in my video of where movie franchises should have ended, this is the plot of what a Time Crisis villain did in the fourth Time Crisis game. I mean, seriously. The Locusts are pretty much the terabytes from Time Crisis 4. That's exactly what this Lewis Dodgson feels like, and nobody, aside from people who read the novel, gave a crap about him from the first movie. And let us talk about other legacy characters they bring back. They bring back Dr. Grant, Ellie Sattler, and Dr. Malcolm. They do nothing with those characters, and to add insult to injury, they don't contribute a whole lot to the plot. You could have easily replaced these three characters with completely new characters and nothing would have changed at all. And heck, speaking of Alan Grant, you'd think that this would have been the perfect opportunity for him to overcome his PTSD with the Raptors, like meeting Blue and realizing she's not that bad a raptor and everything. But nope, the movie just doesn't do that and everything. You can also say the same for Ian Malcolm. And this movie wasted a huge golden opportunity by bringing back legacy characters from other legacy characters from the previous two installments. And I haven't also said this in the previous Jurassic World movies, but this topic needs to be addressed. The dinos in these movies just look ugly as sin, looking like some edgy and angsty teenager designed these dinosaurs and everything. I mean, does this look like a freaking Giganotosaurus? For the love of God, even Dinosaur Train had a better looking Giganotosaurus than this dreadful movie. How does a preschool show manage to be a better looking Giganotosaurus than the multi-million-dollar Hollywood movie? What kind of a world am I living in for that to be the case? And on top of that, let us also talk about the little Dilophosaur. This is a complete continuity error. I just don't understand why the little Dilophosaur is still portrayed as being, should I say, a juvenile and everything. Because as we saw in Lost World Jurassic Park, we saw a fully grown Dilophosaur, and in Jurassic World, we saw a hologram of a fully grown Dilophosaur. So what the hell happened? And lastly, I really want to address this topic about Colin Trevorrow. Colin Trevorrow has stated that he's a fan of Jurassic Park and always wanted to do the franchise justice, when in reality, these movies feel like he wrote them over the course of a weekend, and boy does it show. And considering some out-of-place elements like using dinosaurs in war, genetically engineered locusts, human cloning, and dinosaur hybrids, you would think that this guy would have been the perfect choice for a Dino Crisis movie, if anything. But of course, typical Hollywood did not want to create a new and original franchise. Instead, they just decided to milk Jurassic Park because it was popular and it was recognizable. But anyway, you're asking what are my redeeming qualities of the movie? Well, the story did have potential of the whole dinosaurs and humanity trying to live together is a neat concept. Too bad it was poorly executed and not done. Even though Alan Grant, Malcolm, and Sattler are wasted in this movie, it was nice to see the three of them reuniting together after 30 years of being apart, after almost 30 years of being apart and whatnot. So anyway, if you're wondering how I'm going to rate Jurassic World Dominion, I am going to give this movie a 3 out of 10. So guys, what are your thoughts in the comments section down below? And thanks for watching as always. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more content. Shadow Leon 659 signing out. Goodbye and take care. And as a result, I have to watch the bland as hell Jurassic World Rebirth. Universal, just stop milking this franchise.